Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I've posted in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Yesterday, we have our neighbor and his wife over for dinner. We also invited his son Jason. They live about a quarter mile away from us. Now, his mother lives on the other side of us. So we live right in the middle between them. So we invited her as well. Now, Jason loves to hunt, and we have a lot of deers in our area. So during deer season, he often busy tracking and hunting them. And because of this, I decided I'm going to cook this venison dish for them. I took out some venison from my freezer and I thawed them out. This venison was given to me by my friend Bradley. He comes to hunt on our property. Each season, he always shoots at least 1 or 2 deers. And he will prep them, and he gave some of this. This is a deer loin, and it is normally used for roasting. But as you can see, the deer loin is extremely lean. Deer is probably the leanest meat I have ever had. You can hardly see any fat at all. When I slice through the venison, it reminds me very much of lamb. Even though the texture of the meat is very similar to lamb, but the fat content is significantly lower. When I slice through the meat, I can see hardly any fat at all. And this is a demonstration that this animal lives in the wild. It's unlike those animals that raise in confinement. This animal is constantly active. I asked people around here who hunt. I asked them how do they cook their venison, and most people cook them by roasting them. Sometimes they also put it into their smoker and smoke them. Occasionally, for example, one of our neighbors would put it in a crock pot, and he would cook them for about 10 hours. When I slice through the venison, I discovered they are very similar to the cut of beef known as flank steak. They are extremely lean, and the flank steak is used regularly, particularly in stir frying, and also sometimes it's used in fajita as well. This gives me the impression is that this could be excellent for stir frying. It could be very tender if you stir frying it properly. And for this reason, I decided maybe it is worthwhile for me to give it a try. Now, cutting up the venison probably play an important role of the outcome of the stir frying. I decided I'm going to cut it in somewhat a little bit thicker than I normally would do with chicken, because this will allow me to have better control of the texture of the venison during the stir frying process. I can stir frying to different level of doneness. And I'm going to use the same technique as I have used earlier for stir frying most red meat, such as beef and lamb. This piece of venison is much bigger than what I'm thinking about cooking in a particular dish. So I decided that maybe the best way for me to do is to prep them in advance, as I will do with chicken, beef, and lamb. And I can freeze them in a portion, which I plan to freeze them in about an 8-ounce portion. This will be about right for me to cook a particular dish. I'm going to cook the venison mainly with vegetables, so I will use it more like a condiment rather than just a simple main ingredient. Today, most of the red meats are quite expensive. The price of beef has gone up significantly. Lamb also become more expensive. But lamb are not always available. Usually only available around certain time of the year, such during Easter or any other special holiday season. So I think venison will be an excellent addition to my repertoire. It will provide me with more variations to the dish that I want to cook. And since I know Jason is a deer hunter, and I realized that he had never had venison stir fry before, so I decided I'm going to try to stir fry this dish with asparagus and mushroom for him. The venison loin Bradley gave me is about 2 pounds, so I can divide it into 4 meals. I put about 8 ounces in a Ziploc sandwich bag, which fill about 1/3 of the bag. And I discovered the best ways to freeze them is to spread out the venison throughout the bag so that it becomes as thin as possible. This has a tremendous advantage because when I want to thaw them out, I can just put them in a bowl of lukewarm water, and because of a large surface area, I can thaw out the venison probably in about 10 minutes or less. And using this method, I can have venison anytime I want. I have all my meat freeze in this particular manner, so I usually have a large selection of meats to choose from. And I can have beef, chicken, lamb, pork, and this gives me a lot of flexibility. Now the venison has pretty good shelf life, and it's very similar to beef and lamb. If I store them properly in the freezer, they are good for at least about 2 years. I find that the best way to label them is, as I have shown earlier, is to label on the flap of the Ziploc sandwich bag. Not only that is the easiest part that it can be written on, but at the same time, it's also more visible when you store them. During that evening, I cooked 3 different dishes. The first dish is a fried rice with chicken and broccoli, and the second dish is a lo mein dish with green bean and shrimp. And this is the third dish, and I'm going to serve it with white rice. I set up my gas grill on the kitchen counter so I can cook in front of them. Since the cooking process so quickly, it's a good opportunity for me to demonstrate to them how I stir-fry venison, so they can get an experience of what it is like and the efficiency in cooking this dish using my fast cooking system. I use my gas camping stove, and normally when I use this stove, I use my carbon steel wok. This is a carbon steel wok, a very simple but great carbon steel wok that I purchased from Aldi for about $15. For the money, it's a great wok. It's extremely well built, and it's one of my favorite woks. I use about 2 tablespoons of canola oil, and I spot season the wok, although I already have used this wok to cook other dishes. So I know that it will have a nice non-stick cooked surface. I use about 8 ounces of venison, and I coat the venison first with cornstarch. Now the cornstarch mainly is to absorb as much moisture as possible from the venison, because when you have moisture, the temperature of the oil will drop. And by coating cornstarch, it will allow me to sear the meat better. I have learned over the years that cooking red meat involves 2 steps. The first step is to sear it in high temperature. And the second step is to cook it in low temperature, because this is time when the meat cooks slowly to provide its tender texture. In the second step, the best way to control the temperature is to add vegetables to the meat. At this time, I also reduce the temperature of the burner from high to about medium. When you add the vegetable to the venison, the vegetable will lower the temperature. So even though initially the temperature is very hot when you sear the venison, but at this point, now the venison is going to cook slowly. As you can see, the venison at this point is somewhere between medium rare and medium. The vegetable that I choose in this cooking process is also very important. I want vegetables that are able to cook very quickly. Asparagus and mushroom both require minimum amount of cooking. And because the amount of time that is required to cook the asparagus and mushroom only about 90 seconds. If anything longer than that, you will overcook them. At this point, I'm going to start seasoning the dish. I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. Oyster sauce is a great flavoring agent. It almost has this universal appeal, because it will include the savoriness of the dish without overwhelming the natural flavor of the food ingredients. And next, I add some scallion. Now this scallion is the stem portion of the scallion that I cut into thin strips. This actually will greatly enhance the flavor by introducing onion flavor to the dish. And I do not need to cook the scallion very much. That's why I add it way at the end. Again, cooking this dish involves 2 parts. The first part is searing the venison, which takes only about a matter of seconds. And the second part is to cook the venison slowly until it reaches the doneness that you want, and you control the temperature by adding the vegetable ingredients. By selecting the proper vegetable ingredients, you can control the overall cooking process precisely. The end result is that everything is cooked to the perfect doneness that you want. The venison turned out to be very tender. But more importantly is that by combining the different vegetables with the venison, it casts a different light on the venison. A lot of people who normally do not like venison because of the flavor and the texture, but this dish provides a different presentation that they end up liking it more than they would otherwise. And this happened exactly to my wife, and she normally does not like venison. But when you combine it with mushroom and asparagus, it's become a different ballgame. Home cooking is all about adaptation, creativity, as well as implementation. Without any question, this dish is a template for cooking red meat. And once you understand the template, you can apply to different kinds of red meat. You might not like venison, but you can definitely apply it to beef, lamb, and pork. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine using my fast cooking system, so that not only you will find home cooking practical, efficient, but also creative. So if you'd like to learn more about my cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.